Buddy. Just touching base. I'm a little late. I apologize. I need to get better. That's one of my new. That's my main New Year's resolution is to make these exactly on time. I'm actually thinking about moving the time to 1 o'clock instead of. Yeah, no, I'm gonna keep the time locked. I built my entire calendar around it, so we're staying at 11:30 Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Obviously, I totally forgot yesterday. I should have canceled this entire week, but today we're covering how to find deals and what deals look like for the off-market investor, for the wholesaler, for the flipper, for those that we are and those that we serve. Um, Hi, if you're not seeing me, I'm Steve. REI homepage is my website. Steve, your multifamily specialist. Other brands, whatever you see, Gorilla, REI homepage, whatever, fine. Um, and so what I want to cover is the different categories of deals and where to find them and how we can help you with that. But first, I want to cover what is a deal. One of our new team members, really exciting guy, really ready to get going, as so many of you are. And I want to make sure we support you properly in finding deals. So when you're looking, if you're a licensed agent, okay, you can take a deal off Facebook Marketplace or whatever. And if the seller is willing to um, list with you, great. You can make money even at their rate to view, even trying it at their price. If they're offering a house for $100,000, $1 million, whatever, you can say, hey, listen, don't change your price. Just I'll list it for you. Now, if we don't think it's the right price, we have that whole conversation, whatever that might be. And we try to talk them to where we think they should be. But as an agent, it's okay to go to Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist and whatever else and contact these people directly. It's fun. God, this. But as a wholesaler, it's not that helpful to go to something that's already advertised. It's not. I mean, once they're already advertised, the world's already contacting them, so it's not the greatest prospecting tool. But as a wholesaler, it's kind of a crappy prospecting tool because if they have it advertised for $50,000, you can't buy it anywhere near for 50 because they've already heard the offers at or around 50. You know, they've heard the 30, the 45s and the 48s and the 40s and whatever. We can predict, obviously we can't know. So if it's out there at 50, you can't give them 50 for it and then bring it back on the market at 60 because if they weren't getting the offers at 50, that's why they took your offer. We're not getting the offers at 60. So you really got to make sure you're looking at something, you're making a deal that can work, would be the best way to put it. You're at least making an offer that could work, even if it's not a deal that can work. So what we're going to do, I'm just looking over, I must have closed the batch leads window. Crap. Okay. Um, so you want, if you're going to look at something advertised, just realize the chances of a wholesale happening from something that's already advertised is slim. That may change if the market goes full buyer motivated rather than seller motivated. Back in 2009, 2010, when I started doing this, um, I could grab a deal off anywhere and make it work because there were not enough buyers for every seller. It was a buyer's market. So the sellers weren't getting phone calls. And I would go in there and offer them, 50 cents on the dollar and they'd take it. Um, and just, it was more desperate time for a lot of people. Um, so what we want is we want to, number one, most importantly, always be talking directly to the seller, the person on the deed, the owner. And I want to be clear when I say seller, I mean the person who controls the actual property. Um, meaning their name's on the deed. They're the decision maker. You will get chance at times, and it does not happen infrequently at all. It's quite frequent that you're talking to, well, this is my sister's house, this is my brother's house, this is my mother's house. Okay, great. Get your whoever it is on the phone. Okay. Well, mom's kind of old, and she says, okay, great. At some point, mom's the one signing. We can talk to you till we're blue in the face. Mom is the one signing the documents. Mom is the one that we have to talk to know that she's on board. And having a no, okay, so I'll talk briefly about competency here. I was going to say having a mother with dementia. That changes the game drastically, obviously. If mom has a issue why she cannot be competent, ding, 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 Houston, we have a problem. And that becomes a whole who has legal guardianship or some variation of guardianship. But if it's, well, my mom just doesn't like computers, my mom doesn't like talking on the phone, okay, fine, that's fine. We can do most of the talking, and we can send you the contract to bring to your mom. But when she opens the contract, just before she signs the contract or when she signs the contract, we want to be talking as best we can to mom. And here's why. We had the deal that we were under contract with. We thought mom had signed the contract. And we were under contract with, and we were ready to close. We had a buyer and everything. Come to find out, guy calls us up. Well, mom doesn't want to sell the house. I said, you mean she changed her mind? He's like, no, she doesn't want to sell the house. I said, but she signed it. He's like, no, actually, I signed it for her. So you want to avoid that. But let me take a step back. It's totally fine. We're doing a closing right now where I forget whose brother is on the deed, but we talk to sister or vice versa. And that's fine. The one on the deed doesn't really want to deal with it. Okay, fine, as long as we can talk to the one on the deed and get their sign off. So you want to be talking to that person. Our new, very exciting guy who really is dedicated to bringing deals, Alex, got one. The numbers kind of worked. You know, we kind of talked about it. They took the number. Okay, great. Then they sent over a contract, which, by the way, sellers don't send contracts. So when he said, well, the seller sent me a contract, turns out it was a wholesaler. And it's very hard to tell sometimes. You have to be very direct and ask. But wholesalers like to pretend they're more than they are. I'm a wholesaler, I know. So you want to be talking to the person on the deed. Now, there's 3 approximate categories of property that we will do. And I'm going to say 4, actually. There's residential, single family, multifamily, that 1 through whatever, people sleep there. And that includes what's called mixed use, which is there's some people sleeping there and there's something else going on. It's a self-storage facility with 2 apartments. It's a mobile home park with an office building in front, or it's, 3 apartments upstairs and a storefront downstairs. Whatever. It's that. And with that, you have to have, if you have people sleeping there, that's one category. Mixed use is different. So residential, I want to restart the definition. Okay, so technically, residential is 1, 2, 3, 4 unit. 5 plus is multifamily. 5, 10, 15, 20, 100, 200 million. It's all multifamily. It can be large or small multifamily, whatever. For us, all of that is residential. People sleep there. The primary income is people sleeping. Then you have a commercial model, which is storefronts, office buildings, self-storage, everything commercial, gas stations, car washes, whatever. Then you have mixed use, some of one, some of the other. And you have self-storage, which is a section of commercial, but it's a section I specifically focus on myself, so I treat it a little bit differently. And I have a lot of buyers in that section. And then you have land. Literally from 1 lot to I've got 1,000 acres ready for development. Those are your 4, 3, because self-storage is really part of commercial. categories of residential, commercial, land, and mixed use. That's what you got pretty much. And they are all opportunities for us. There's no doubt. And we have technology for all of them. So that's the important thing you got to remember. We have back office technologies. We have self-storage tool called Tract IQ, which is basically like a batch leads or a prop stream for self-storage. We have Land OS, which is an entire operating system for how to do land and find land deals. We have batch leads and so forth for finding the residentials. The multifamilies are a little bit of a different sector, and there's also lots of ways to find property. So these tools, you can call them, we can use an AI dialer, we can hire a dialing company, we can do email, we can do texting. These, and by we, a lot of this is you. To be perfectly honest, you guys are the front of the funnel. You guys are the ones that are bringing us the deals. Alex, I don't see you out here yet. Let me see. Are you coming, Alex? All right, cool. So you guys are the ones finding us the sellers. We will show you everything else you need. So I'm going to start with self-storage because self-storage is a sector that I have a special interest in. So I have a whole sector of buyers in. And I'm going to start by pulling up the self-storage directory, I guess, for lack of a better term, of how we do stuff. So you guys work with Hunting for Homes, Guerrilla Real Estate, which is myself and my partner Ryan, and what we do. Self-storage, my self-storage buying company is me and Mark. It's totally separate from that. However, your work is still within me and Ryan. So because self-storage is very different, we're not taking you guys as deep into it. We can teach it to you on an individual basis. But really all we want you to do is Mark and I are going to give, you can find us other self-storage facilities. Find something, send it over. Terrific. Yay, please do. Anything you find, throw it in. But this is specifically how Mark and I have laid it out. So here's a Loom video in this link, and you should all have this. And I don't see Alex's thing, so I'll send that to you later, Alex. So there is a form, which is if there's a deal to be submitted, if you just find a self-storage facility, you can use this form. That's one thing. There's the Google Sheet, which is actually what I meant to open, which has the Loom training video. It has a bunch of links that the stuff in green is really what matters to you. And then there's lists in here. All of these. They may not be always labeled for their state, but whatever. And so you're going to take a row and you're going to go across and you're going to Google the deal address. Literally just Google it. That's all you're doing. You're just punching it into Google. Nothing special. And you're going to, in the form, put what you learn. This is basically just moving it over to the other side of things. Team member, that's you, broker, wholesaler. If it's not a direct person, if there's a broker or wholesaler involved, there you go. Team contact, how do we reach you? Contact phone, broker, wholesale contact. These questions are not in great order. Property, address, city. And down further, there's places for links. Income expenses, listing link, Google Street View link, website link. Anything else you can find, you're putting in here. So you're going through and you're getting access to a direct person that wants to sell real estate. That, in all categories of business, is what you're doing with us. That's what we're looking to have you do. And so you're taking the pieces of this that matter, and you're going over here, And after you've Googled the address and you looked at it on Google Maps or on somebody's maps, you've looked at it on Street View. What's it look like on Street View? I don't like anybody else's maps, but I just find Google Maps a lot more useful in terms of how they do stuff. And that's obviously not the address. I don't know where that one came from, but that's okay. We can do this. We go here, we go here, we go here, we go here. Boom, 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 boom. Why isn't it? There's no way that's the correct. Oh, it is. What's confusing me here is simply because that I knew that address was wrong because it's an address I was just talking for houses. Now, while we're looking at this, we're going to look at what's going on here. So you start to notice what things look like aerially. Like this was immediately either a mobile home park, but I didn't think so, or a development. This means it's a development in progress. So we now learn something about the neighborhood. Also, when you're flying over an area, this is what self-storages look like from the air. Long, narrow buildings, spaced fairly evenly apart. Now, what we've also learned here is we've learned that this one doesn't have a Google flag. There's no identifier for that being a self-storage facility. So that's a very much plus thing in the self-storage world. We know that they've got a crap website. They've got crappy Google placement, not a website. We're not there yet. They do have a self-storage, a website. And in this case, it's a pretty good website. It's rent a unit, pay online. They're doing all the technological stuff. Okay, so you're learning about it. You're learning about the neighborhood. You're learning about the property. You're learning about the community. If it gave us a street view level, it does give us a street view level. Okay, fine. So you do a quick, you're spending like 3 minutes here. You're saying, oh, this is what's nearby. This is what it looks like. Oh, look, okay, fine. That's all you're doing. You're not spending a lot of time. And then you're going over here and you're calling. First number you're going to come to is the facility phone number. That's whoever answers the phone. It might be a call center, it might be the person working the desk, it might be the owner. You don't know. And when you're looking at this, you're not making any judgment calls. You're not skipping anything. But just you start to know, all right, they've got rent a unit, pay online on their website. They're a fairly well-run facility. It's not just a picture of a self-storage unit saying call us. What I call back in the day a brochure website. It's not that. So, hey Alex. Oh, all right, cool. How you doing? All right. So anyway, so what you're doing is you're calling them and you're going through you're chatting with them, and the instructions are in this email. You're chatting with the person at the desk and saying, "Hey, listen, I'm considering renting a bunch of units. I'm not sure what I'm going to need. I'm buying a house or I'm inheriting a house." Come up with some sort of a white lie. What do you guys have available? What are your rates? How full is your facility? Have you got room for trailers? You're just getting a chat going with the guy, and then you're saying, "Hey, you know what? I want to also find out, more about your company because I am a self-storage investor myself, and I'd like to know more about the market. Are you the owner? Da, da, da. You're starting a relationship, starting a conversation. You don't need to go too deep on these questions. We'll handle these questions, but we do have a list of questions for you if you want to go to them. But keep the conversations friendly and light because you don't know who you're talking to. You're talking to a manager, owner, desk person, whatever. Their job is not to sell you a facility. But you work your way around. Are you locally owned? Are you this? Are you that? Hey, is it possible for me to talk to your owner or talk to your district manager or something? Oh, yeah, the owner right here. Great. Because that's who we want to have our conversation with. So you're finding a way to get us into the owner's phone, basically. You're finding a way to get us somewhere to the owner. Now, this particular lead has an owner phone number. So after you finish finding out whatever you can about the facility, the town, you make a relationship with the manager, whoever you're talking to on the phone, great. If they don't give you the owner's phone number, we have it. You just go further right and there's an owner phone number category. You reach out to the owner and very respectfully, hey, you represent Storage Guys LLC. You are we are self storage buyers. Wanted to find out more about your community, more about your business, and maybe see if you wanted to talk about selling your facility. You're not going very deep in this conversation either. You're just warming up and saying, hey, I work for the guys who buy self storage. Wanted to see if I could find a good time to talk to you. You can live switch either phone call over to us. We can do the phone calls with you live. That's fine. So if you get somebody on the phone and you want a three-way me or Ryan in, go for it. And when you're on the phone with the seller, you're not asking any deep questions. Maybe how many units, how occupied are you, whatever. It's all in the list, but you're not there to grill anybody. As much as you can gather for us is great. The more you can gather for us, the better. But you're mostly trying to gather basics. But more importantly, you're trying to set up a time for us to talk to them. That's the punchline. In self-storage world, you get us on the phone with the seller, the owner, and you give us as much of this stuff as you can, then your job is done. You've earned if this thing closes, you've earned your money. I'll tell you, commercials and self-storages close slowly. Meaning your months on that. That's the reason we pay $3,000 to $5,000 to Hunting for Homes, and then you get your split from there. And all you're really doing is set up an intro. The reason we're paying more for less work, we're paying same for less work. You're getting your same percentage, even if you're not. There is no 15, 25%. You're getting your top end percentage, 45 or 50, whatever your contract says, because it takes longer. You're going to hook us up now, and then in 6 months you're going to get a check. So that's how self-storage works. Now, switching gears to and that's any kind of commercial, but we're not focused anywhere else. Land, entirely different conversation. That is not for today. If you want to learn Land OS, let me know. I'll get you a password. We'll get you into Land OS, and we'll start Land OSing, because I would love if somebody wants to say, hey, I'm the Land OS guy, quick, done. Same thing with self-storage. You may decide you specialize. You may say, hey, I don't want to screw with the little ones. I want to screw with commercial. And commercial has a very big top end, because we can get you more involved at a better spread when we're wholesaling. By the way, if we are the $3,000 to $5,000 only applies if we're buying them directly. If we're wholesaling them, Hunting for Homes gets the wholesale spread. So it's a totally different world if we're finding a buyer. Now, in the residential world, and this is where most of you are going to live, and that's fine, you're looking for motivated sellers. Now, what does motivation look like? Motivation looks like, for those of you old enough to remember the Joe Pesci movie from the 80s, The Super, death, divorce, destruction. Not quite that morbid, but yes. We're looking for people who want to sell off market at a discount. We are also brokers in PA. We can do listings, but most of you are going to focus on the other. If you get a listing, yes, you still get paid. Okay. If you get a listing and they list with us, you still get paid. By the way, everyone is paid on closing. We get our check, you get yours. And I also want to just get right up front, the way our percentages work is, I'll use an example of a recent deal. We got a check for, the spread was $20,000. You didn't get, whoever it was didn't get 50% of $20,000. They got their percentage of what we actually took home at the end of it. Meaning, the $20,000 lost $7,000 to the party that brought the buyer. Basically, another wholesaler brought the buyer. So that became 13. We then take out 20% for our company operations. I've got to keep licenses going. I've got to keep an office going. I have to keep errors and emissions insurance and marketing expenses. Yeah. So fine. And then bottom line, it came to about 10 grand. We split 10 grand three ways. Me, Ryan, and the guy who brought the deal in. So his share was, your share is off what we actually take home. People have asked in the past why. I said, well, if out of my 25%, because if you're getting 50 and Ryan and I are splitting it, Out of our 50%, we have to pay all the company expenses. At a certain point, just becomes not worth doing. Company needs insurance, it needs an office, it needs things. We can't avoid those things. We couldn't afford all these fancy softwares if we did that. So just to be clear, your 50% is after we cover company hard costs, after we cover the stuff, and that's fine. And because you got to remember, if a lawyer is going to get involved, they're not suing you. They don't know you. They're suing me. So our company has to have some reserves for that. We have to have insurance or whatever. So anyway, so that's how the math works. At the end of the day, you're getting half of what there is to spend after hard costs recovered. I'm just being straight so no one has a question. Now, what you're doing to find these deals is you are looking for people with motivations. We have batch leads, which we can give you a password to. We have, I think we might have still have a prop stream. We don't use it that much anymore. We can buy lists. We have an auto dialer. So you can, in batch leads, you can dial phone numbers yourself from your office, ding, 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 dial. Great. We have scripts for you and everything. And we also have an AI. We're working on bringing online AI dialer. We are doing some postcard stuff. We're doing a whole bunch of other stuff. So we have a lot of tools to help you bring deals, but it really comes down to your effort and what you do. The options for marketing are endless. You can do direct mail. You can do bandit signs. Lots of people love bandit signs. Alex, I see you walking around downtown. Hey, I'm going to be facetious because carrying them around is a pain in the ass, but hey, walk around your neighborhood and put up bandit signs. They're called bandit signs for a reason because they're not legal. You're putting them on telephone poles. They're not supposed to be there. But put them up. Put up flyers. Put up this. Put up that. Have a Facebook business account. Make sure you're always posting on it. Make sure you're always posting on it. Have, Instagram, whatever. Have a business phone number. What we're looking for in motivators is, and there's lots of stacking, meaning putting more motivators together. Motivators are like bankruptcy, foreclosure, missed payments, code violations. They also might not be scary things. They might just be facts. I like non-owner occupied. or it's called absentee owner, out-of-state absentee owner. Love those. I love, you get back into probates and divorces and whatever. Some people love high equity, which means they have a lot of distance between the value of their property and their loan. They have it almost paid off. Those are okay. Personally, for me, I like low equity. I like people who are in trouble. But high equity is great too, because sometimes they can be more negotiable. And we will work with you on a personal basis, one-on-one, as far as growing that for you. We have some lists we can share with you of places you can call. We will help you generate lists to call and whatever. You can go to your local municipality, your local county website, or whatever county you're focusing on, and look for tax sale notices. I was just down that's why I was late today. I had to stop by a tax office because the property I'm involved with is going to lose their house to taxes next week if we didn't make a payment. I wanted to get it done before the end of the year. It was something I'm helping a client with. But anyway, tax sales. Going to tax sales, less interesting because you have to bring cash to the tax sale to actually buy it that day. Talking to an owner facing a tax sale, very interesting. They've got a knife coming toward their throat. A whole different training on tax sales. But basically in Pennsylvania, the upset is the first sale they come to. They haven't paid their tax in 3 years, they come to an upset. If 30 days before the sale, when they post the notices of who's going to tax sale, those 30 days is tough to get a deal done because it's just a matter of finding the property, driving the property, making it all happen. Go for it, yes. If it doesn't sell at the sale, then you have a year before the next sale. You've got a year to work with that person. And they know there's another sale coming. Another great market I love, which requires advertising and outreach, is tired landlords. Okay? You walk down the street, again, Alex, I'll pick on you. You're walking, you see a for rent sign on a single family. Your neighborhood right now, probably not a lot of singles, but whatever. You see a for rent sign of a vacant property, especially a dirty or a faded one. That thing's been empty for a while. The only thing you know about an empty property is it ain't making money. A vacant single is losing 100% a month because it's only one unit, nobody's paying rent. You call up that for rent sign and say, hey, I'm not really interested in renting your property, but would you consider selling it? And that's when you're talking to a seller, it's always about their story. You want to get the questions answered. And I'm going to pull up our team go high level page questionnaire here and show you what the questions are. But you're calling up, you're talking to the seller, and it's conversational. Our questionnaire doesn't matter. It does, but the order of the questions doesn't matter. Our script doesn't matter. It does, but the order of the conversation is what the seller wants it to be. Your job is to make that seller feel like you're their friend. Your job is, and again, always, 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 never, ever feel like you cannot reach out to us and have us on a call. We love being on your calls, okay? You get someone live, if you're new, you get someone live on the line who actually picks up the phone, you fold me into the call. And I'll run the call and you'll listen. After a few calls, you'll be like, oh, I get this. And then you'll run the call and I'll listen. You're always taking notes. You're always doing the work. And then at some point, you're like, hey, got this. Don't need this. Gotcha. Perfect. So the conversation with the seller goes like this. It's kind of the same commercial, residential, whatever. Hey, 123 Main Street. Oh, yeah. Would that be something you want to sell? Or have you got something else you want to sell? And again, I'm using abbreviated language. Well, I'm not loving the price right now, but I'm thinking about selling maybe, All right, well, hey, I represent Hunting for Homes Guerrilla Real Estate. We're real estate investors, flippers. We're also licensed real estate brokers, which is required in the state of Pennsylvania. We're also wholesalers. We can help you with the situation, either as a listing agent or as a direct buyer, whatever you want. Could we talk about this a little bit? Okay, cool. And you ask them kind of what's going on in there. Tell me about the property, bedrooms, bathrooms, physical condition, what works and what doesn't is our favorite one. And how long have you owned it? What's the story is what you're getting to. And then why do you want to sell it? And they are, in whatever order it comes up, it will meander itself through its own little route. It will meander itself through. But basically, why are you doing it? And let them bitch. Let them tell you about their sister who fucked their husband, and that's why they can no longer have the house and whatever. Let them tell you about, we inherited this piece of junk and we just don't like it. It's perfectly fine, it functions, but whatever. Two reasons. One is let them love you. But two is you're gaining information. You're gaining negotiation information. I had a guy, God, this 15 years ago. And I'm at this double, totally functional both sides. He's got a tenant, side by side double, big rooms, just a little weird in how he had the place heated and stuff, but totally like, it's fine. It's here. It's whatever. And then we're walking through the house and I'm thinking, I'm buying this thing for 30, which at the time was a good deal, but not a killer deal. And we're going through, he's just bitching about all this little stuff that between you and me never matter. And we get to the other end of the tour. He's showing me all these little weird things, which to him are huge. And I'm like, listen, well, I said, I liked your house before I saw it. Now they told me all this stuff. Where are you at numbers wise? And he said that, oops, there you are. Okay. So anyway, so he said that, I'm going to add the screen back. So we're walking through, he said, where are you at numbers wise? And, he's like, look, can you get me $10,000 in the next 14 days? And remember, I'm thinking 30. He's thinking 10. So I couldn't get that thing out of my pocket fast enough to have him sign a contract. And I said, here's the deal. I'm going to come back on Saturday with some of my contractors and investors, which really is wholesaler speak for buyers. And we should be good. And we should be able to go straight to title and get you done in the time you need to be done. I already knew at 10 grand, I'm taking the 10 grand out of my pocket. But whatever. We have a little mini auction on the front steps Saturday afternoon. Of course, the seller doesn't know this. I walk all my team members through the house, and then we walk down the street to the coffee shop. And I'm like, look, guys, we're all here at once. Everyone give me your best number. That thing sold for $35,000. Holy, because I would have made 5. I would have gotten it for 30, sold it for 35. Great. But I got 25 off of it because I let him talk. I let him unsell me his own house. Like, I literally was doing the same thing with a guy in Galveston, Texas yesterday. He's got a bunch of property, and I didn't know what he had. He's like, Galveston sucks. The market's gone to hell. I want out. You know, it's hard to make money here anymore. He's telling me you don't want to hear. And then he tells me what he has, and I'm like, okay. He's like, so I want one. He's like, it's appraised for $1 million. I want, or 1.1. I want $1 million. Okay, but you told me I can't make money at it. I said, I said, I'll take it, but what are we doing to make me want to take it? Because I told him, I said, you told me I can't rent it for enough to make the money. So let them talk. Let them feel like you are their person. Let them feel like you are, and you're not representing them. You're not lying to them, but let them feel like, you know, and here in this wholesale seller basic team form, and do not try to fill this out live. This is not organized. This is not anything. But these are the questions. In our scripts, they're all here. When do you need the money? Property address. What works? What doesn't? And in the wholesale world, in the residential wholesale world, your pay is in three levels. Your pay is, you say, hey, I talked to Johnny. Johnny wants to sell his house. Here's Johnny's phone number. Never talk to me about Johnny again. Steve and Ryan take care of the rest. You get 15%. Hey, let me do a live switch with Johnny. Let me get me full research on Johnny. But after I hand it off, I don't want to talk to you ever again, or talk to Johnny ever again. That's 25%. You go all the way through the process to closing. That's where you get your 45 or 50 or whatever. But we have a lot of questions here. And there's even a lot more. But you're collecting all the information. So when you're on the phone with the seller, it's a very cordial conversation. You're getting the information and you're just writing it on a notepad or whatever it is you choose to do. But you are really trying to get that relationship going with them. And again, at any point in time, fold me or fold I. If we can't take it live, you'll see you have our scheduling link and you can schedule the next call. When you get that part of the conversation done, you okay, Alex?
Yeah, I'm all right. Thank you.
Yeah. So basically, when you get that part of the conversation done, you'll fill out the form and you'll message us, say, hey, guys, new form, yada, yada. And you will, and we'll show you the rest of the steps. We'll show you how to comp the property. We'll show you how to look at the rest of it and take it from there. So I'm pulling into Batch Leads only because I want to show you Batch Leads is our comping software. It's our dialer. It's our find leads software in the residential space. And there's lots of trainings online. I won't try to train you on Batch Leads. I'm just doing this to say, I'm just doing this because I want to show you how easy it is to pull a comp on Batch Leads. So you can adjust the filters. We only care about what's are sold or sold. We don't care about active. Active is currently listed. Pending is listed but waiting for closing. And it's 232, 150. These are, and you can look at the pictures. Okay, so we're looking at this house. It's not like our subject house. It doesn't physically look like our subject house. But okay, this is what someone paid $150,000 for in this market. Now our subject house is more of a, well, you can see it up here. It's more of a cottage style, and doesn't have, it still looks actually a little bit better than the other house. Ranches sell for less, whatever, whatever. So easily I could see this thing selling, let's say not 150, let's say 100 in dipped in gold, maybe 150, but 1 to 150 dipped in gold. Um, and so we then do our math. So if I'm looking at this and saying, okay, I'm going to sell for, I'm not going to say that I'm going to sell for 250. I'm just because I've got a much bigger lot than our subjects is a very tiny lot. All right, I'm going to sell for 150, something like that. Flipper, let's use 150 because it's easy. Flipper has to have 30% for profit, lender, and realtor. So 100. And I looked at her pictures. I said, okay, I got 40 grand in work here. So 60. So the flipper has to be done for 100. They're going to put 40 grand into the house. That's 60. And then we call up the seller back again after you and I have gone through this, or you and Ryan have gone through this, or whatever, and we've determined our parameters. And now we talk to the seller. Okay, you know what would be great? We appreciate your time. We've done some work. We've done some research. Here's what we think we know about your neighborhood. And this is where Ryan and I are doing a lot of the talking. And here's what we think it is. Great. And they like it. We send them a contract. We do all the contracts. It all comes out of here. You'll be copied on it, but you won't do it. And then goes off into the races. We also will then show you how to look into whatever Go High Level went, and you'll be able to follow the deal from there, and you'll be instructed to do some things. You'll be instructed maybe to advertise the house or whatever. Every deal is different how much you do, especially when you're not licensed. But the point is, that's all it is. We did one exactly a year ago, Christmas Eve. Ryan talked to the seller. I think he might have gone to the house, took some pictures, signed up the seller at $30,000. Ryan took the time on New Year's Eve and threw it up on whatever it was. Next day, buyer, $55,000. 20 grand overnight. So the relationship with the seller is what matters. So your methods of marketing are postcards, bandit signs, lists that we get from batch leads or elsewhere, Facebook, county records, meaning, I'll say county, could be your municipality, could be, depending on what it is, code office violations or municipality, county is taxes, whatever, school district, whatever. So, but you're reaching out to the sellers. Also, word of mouth. I mean, I tell people, listen, go to all your friends, all your Facebook. So you have your Facebook business page, and this is an okay thing to put on your business page. And then you have your personal page. Well, on your personal page, you're announcing to your friends, hey, I'm doing this wonderful new real estate thing. Have you? And I jokingly say it this way, whether this applies in your lifestyle, your way of doing things. Hey, have you ever made $300 in 5 minutes legally? Obviously, there are unlegal ways to do that. No, how do you do that? You give me the name and number of somebody that wants to sell real estate. All you do is give me the name and number. When I close that property, I pay you $300, whatever it is. So I'm paying you whatever, and we're paying that person whatever, a couple $100 on closing. The point is, your friend's uncle's cousin's former girlfriend might have just inherited a house she doesn't want. Only way you're getting to that person is through the chain. So the point is, your job is to get in front of direct sellers. Direct mail we can help you with. If you don't have the money for stuff, we can talk about it. AI dialers, Facebook ads. Facebook posting is huge. Just be the visible guy. That's what your Facebook business page is about. That's what your Instagram and whichever other ones you choose is about. Hey, we buy houses. We buy self-storage units. We have the graphics. We will supply you with whatever you need. But basically, that's your job. Your job is to there's a lot of other parts of your job, but nothing works if you don't have a seller, if you don't talk to people. Now, we will flip it. You will have buyers come out of the woodwork, and I am fine with this. This is good. You run an ad, even if okay, we don't call them fake ads, we call them ghost ads. 32 Pottsville, New York, or I'm sorry, 32 Pottsville, Pennsylvania, $12,000. That was actually a house we had. You can use that one. I don't really care if you're using a real house or not. Buyers will come out of the woodwork. Great. We vet the buyers. And then you go looking for what the buyer wants. You're doing the same thing. You're still looking for a seller, but you're shopping for a buyer. Realize that it's better to have the house, in my opinion, than to have the buyer, because the buyer will buy from whoever brings them a house. The buyer is totally non-monogamous. The buyer is just, a deal comes in, I don't care. I'm buying it. Seller, once we have a contract with the seller, we're the only one with a contract on 209 Union Street, Pottsville. Somebody else might have 211, 210, 208. We have 209. We're the only ones. You want 209, you want us. This is the way it goes. So but you want to build a buyer's list. And we have a website, we have a form. Shockingly enough, we have a form for that. We have new buyer intake form. You get somebody who wants to buy property, you're filling out this form. Okay? I know it's exciting. Everything's all about forms, but it is. It's just, this is a business of systems. So if you get somebody who says, hey, I want you to find me this property, terrific. Ding, ding, ding. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Let's do this. Let's have fun. That's great. And then we go and shop for their thing. That's the seller. And so you're doing that. Then within the software, we will show you this totally separately, but you are getting, we're having a little bit of trouble with the developer getting these out to you. He should in a couple of days. We're getting you logged into the software so you can track the rest of the process, and you can do the rest of the process from within the CRM. The point is, we are your back office. We provide everything. We provide the contracts. We provide the CRM. We can provide the data. We provide the overall support. We provide the knowledge base, the background, all of this. If you guys, you don't need to learn this right now, but this is sort of how things go down the pipeline. As different things happen. And different tasks come with different spaces in the pipeline. So anyway, so that's the, so really that, anybody got any questions? Because that's what I wanted to cover, sort of the ways in which we market property. And the biggest thing is reaching out to sellers. Now, real quick, when you're posting on a Facebook or whatever, and you're looking for things, the two ways you're finding people on social media, all three ways. You want to, and let me find my Facebook account. So I am in a gazillion groups, and I break the rule. I do it. I do it mostly with my personal Lackawanna County community page. This is a great place to post from your business page in Facebook. Join groups like this, whatever your community is, and post not just we buy houses. Yes, we have graphics for that. You post, hey, I'm a real estate investor looking for deals, always happy to pay finder's fees. No problem. Do all that. Post relevant things about real estate. Don't overwhelm the group, because this isn't really a real estate group, but whatever. And watch when people ask questions, and you won't know the answers. Call me for the answers. And you post the answer. Steal my content when I post stuff. Repost it, forward it, cut and paste it, whatever. You can repost somebody else's stuff legally as long as you credit them. So Forbes magazine, or maybe it was Fox, just named Scranton, Pennsylvania, the top 6 places in the country to move if you want to buy a house under $300,000 or something, or whatever. And so you're posting visibility stuff, I call it, in these groups to remain visible. You're also going to join groups like PA Investment Property Owners. These are investors. Shockingly enough, the name's kind of clear. And this is where you're going to find some buyers. This is where you're going to find landlords. This is where you're going to build a relationship and become a visible member of the community. This isn't really make a deal, although if you have a deal, this is a great place to put it. Anyway, so these are places where you'll meet buyers, you'll meet landlords. You'll also be bad tenants. Bad tenants and landlords in Luzerne County, which isn't actually what it sounds like as much, but it is tenants and landlords. This is a place you can say, hey, you're tired landlord, tired of your evictions? Call us. Also, eviction court is a great thing. You can see the public notices of filings of evictions. In Pennsylvania, it's on the unified judicial system. Basically, the UJS portal, you can look for evictions. Also, you'll get to know in your county what those postings for evictions look like. When the tenant's told you fucked up, it's time to go to court. Somebody's got that in the door. They've got a no trespassing sign printed on paper, and it calls out some court information. The constable posts it. That means this landlord just went through a shitty thing, and they might be interested in selling. So the whole bunch of different ways. But the point is, what you're not seeing me talk about here is look at Facebook ads, look at whatever. You're not seeing that kind of stuff. You're posting on Facebook, you're not looking at Facebook. Having connection issues, Alex?
Yeah, I lost connection.
Okay, yeah. So, all right. Well, I'm pretty much wrapping up, and I'll send you a link to the video because obviously you missed a lot of it. Do you have
All
any
right.
questions?
No, I don't have any questions right now.
All right. Anyways,
Yeah.